welcome to another edition of the Journey to Freedom. And I'm just so excited to be here today because we get to talk about some really cool stuff. And when I say cool stuff, it's not just it's our lives. It's our ability to be able to take the lives that we've been giving, look at other people's success. And I say this, and many times when I talk to folks, I say success leaves clues. And when we find those clues and we can duplicate the things we can do, we can have a better life. Chip, and Chip's going to be my guest. I'm going to give him a chance to introduce himself. But one of the things, I just got back from Alabama last week. And one of the things that was enlightening to me in Alabama is to go to the Bryan Stevenson's Legacy Museum and be able to see where we've come from and see whether it was my grandfather, who I know came from slavery in Kentucky, or, some of the signs that were there that were, from my Native American heritage that I have. So I've been able to see a lot of that and go, wait a minute, this all happened. And then I fast forward to some of the things that I've been able to do, some of the things I've been able to accomplish, the circles I've been able to drive in, and find that there's folks who aren't able to do some of those things. And what separates me from some of those other folks that have been able to do stuff is that I've found mentors and people in my life that have walked me through some of those things. And Chip, you've been one of those folks who have allowed me to see what it is that I can do, where the sky is the limit based on whatever the history is or whatever things happen in our life. And so I have Chip McAllister on today. Excited to talk to him. I'm going to let him, just kind of introduce some of the things. I met him when he was, an actor and doing a ton of stuff in Hollywood. And we did a whole bunch of stuff together. And then, I got to see him win The Amazing Race, and then I've seen the amazing stuff he's been able to do with him and his wife Kim, and just to be able to be an example to me of what it takes to be successful. I know where he grew up in Los Angeles, and in the places that he did, and what he's been able to accomplish over times, and the houses he's been able to buy, and the success he's had, and the faith. Quite frankly, when we talk about our faith and talking about what it takes to live within the side of that. Is just a huge example. So thank you for being on the show today, Chip. I sure appreciate you being here. I sure appreciate you just taking the time out for us to talk about what we can do to help other Black men be successful in life.
Well, Brian, as you know, we've been knowing each other long enough. That's something that's very near and dear to my heart. I went to high school here in South Central Los Angeles. The best high school in the world. I'm sorry, whoever's listening, but Dorsey High School, best high school ever. And I am proud to say, I'm going to say it. I just got inducted into the Dorsey High School Hall of Fame last year, and it was a very proud moment for me. And if you're wondering why, it's that I'm still very active there, giving back, putting on a lot of stuff there at Dorsey High School, a lot of programs for the kids. And also I was, like Brian said, I was an actor back in the day. But
probably still are, right?
Yeah. Oh, Brian, you may not know this, but I haven't done a commercial in 30 years because, when I was an actor, I did a lot of commercials. And the reason I stopped was because when things got slow, my kids told me, "Daddy, we can't eat your dreams. You're going to have to get a job." So I went back and got my bachelor's degree. And then I've been in corporate America. Then now I'm a real estate broker, have a large team, and just very blessed with that. But, Brian, last week I just shot a commercial, man, a national commercial, because my love, which is pickleball, somebody saw a pickleball commercial advertisement or something like that, and they said, "Chip, you should try out for this commercial." And I tried out, man, and I got it. And now I have a top Hollywood commercial agent, the Osbrink agency. So I'm back, baby. So everything is clicking, man.
Oh my gosh. Now, I don't know if you remember this, Chip. So when I was a PE teacher, when we first, started talking and I got to know you, I was teaching pickleball. And I tried to get you to play pickleball with me back in 1990 something. We were doing stuff, and it was like, no, tennis is the deal. And I'm telling you, I'm teaching these kids how to play pickleball. We're playing it in the gym. We're teaching, and so what we're seeing is this generation that we all taught pickleball back in the 90s are now adults, and they're loving the sport. And then to hear you come full circle after I tried to get you, you're like, no, we got to play tennis. Tennis
Brian,
is what it's
I
all
tell you,
about.
man,
And I'm like, no, pickleball. But I love the fact that you're playing some pickleball now.
Brian, I am upset. I am obsessed with pickleball, and I'll tell you, I needed to listen to everything you said because you, as I just reminded you before the show started, you were the first one back in the day who introduced me to this thing called, what was that called again? The internet. I'm like, what? And you got me on Mosaic browser, and I had my edu email address and all this cryptic stuff you were talking. You got me on that, and we together were coming up with what was to be known as eBay. We could have made millions of dollars, man. So I should have listened to you, because to this day I didn't remember you told me about pickleball, man, but I am obsessed. I play every day now.
Do you really? Oh, that is so cool. I love it. Love it. I loved it when I was teaching it. I loved it when it was, we would spend any time it rained. That was our excuse to come and do the gym and play pickleball. So every chance we got, and I had a unit for 3 years when I was teaching PE that was just all pickleball. I used to school them kids all day long. I would play pickleball 4 or 5 hours a day at one point. Oh my gosh. Now I got to get back into it now. I'm glad. So now we got a commercial.
Yeah.
So you're doing.
Yeah. And it's for a national brand. I can't say which brand it is, but it's for a national brand you see every day. It's a huge one. And you probably only see me. You blink, and if you blink too quick, you won't see me. But hey, that doesn't matter. It all pays the same.
Exactly. You're in the commercial, and that's all that matters. Oh, that's so cool. So maybe kind of just tell us your story. So you talked about Dorsey High School, and then you talk. I know you got your first acting job. I think either right out of high school or right in high school. What has happened? What has your life progressed as? And maybe from the perspective of even being a black, I guess, child at one point, and then now I'm a black man. And I'm got to figure out how I'm going to make it in this world. What are some of the things that you did, or the things like that propelled your life so you could be successful as you've been able to be?
Oh, okay. So you have a 5-hour show. Okay. No, Brian, man, it would take that long to even really scratch the surface. Being with my wife, Kim, we've been together, happily together for 46 years. And she's my queen, my best friend, my everything. We've done everything together. And if you just even try to think about the hats we've worn, the professions we've had, it's too numerous to count and definitely to remember. So I'll just take little chops of it. I'll just say what I live by and what I don't let get interrupted at all. And that is that I fight vigilantly for my happiness, no matter what the situation. Vigilantly, I fight for my happiness, because I'll tell you, my finances, man, and that's a lot of people get plagued with health issues or relationship issues. Mine has been financial issues. It's like a heartbeat, Brian. It goes millions, boom, zero, less than zero, boom. It's like a heartbeat. That's exactly how, my financial situation has been. But no matter what, people always are shocked and amazed when they learn what my destitution level, if you will, has been, because I'm going to be happy no matter what, man, because I already know what God has promised me. I already know what my bright future is. I already know how rich in every way I am, even when my finances don't show it. My finances are lying when they're not showing it. But right now, Brian, I'm going to tell you, I'm living in a great time, man. 2024 is starting out for Kim and me, where right now we're going to make more money in by the middle of it's middle of February. So yeah, more money probably coming up here right now. The checks coming in than we made in all of 2023 and half of 2022. And I already saw that it was going to happen. So that's what I would say to anybody, man. Whatever journey you're on, whatever you're going through, don't spend your life where you're miserable thousands upon thousands of days because your goal hasn't been attained. No, I'm happy then. I'm happy now. And I don't even know if I'm happier now, because my happiness when I was broke, I'm still happy. I'm not eating as well, but I'm still happy, man. So I would tell, especially brothers, man, we got a lot of stuff that we have to overcome. But toxic people, get them out of your life. And no matter if you work with them, you don't have to give them that piece of you that's special. So I make certain that I surround myself with people who bring out the best in me and who give me the ability to bring out the best in them. So I know that didn't answer your question, but it gave you some kind of an answer.
Oh no, it starts right. You've given me so many things to talk about right now. Because one thing I want to talk about, you talked about associations, and one of the things that I believe happens in our communities is we spend our time around so many toxic people. And I don't want to give the barbershop as an example because there's some really good barbershops. But somebody told me once, if I spend more than 30 minutes in a barbershop, I'm going to end up in some toxic conversations that continue to happen and revolve. How over this time, I mean, you say you're happy all the time. How have you avoided or been able to identify some of those toxic relationships that we're going to, maybe you didn't know then, but now were some of those things that could lead you down that wrong path?
That I always go in with an open mind. I always go in, and the way I live life is whenever I go somewhere, my main objective is to make that place a better place because I was there. My second objective is to, when I leave, it's no difference, if I came or went. I don't like that one so much. But the one I do not accept is a situation where I go into and it's worse off because I was there. So I don't want to ever let that happen. And I'm always shooting for the first one. And when I'm around people who don't feel me, or if I try to interject and I'm ignored, or if somebody is caustic, or if it's somebody who just talks about like negative talk, like guys cheating, wanting to cheat on their wives, or guys who want to do drugs, or guys that are talking about things that I'm just not into, I love them. And if I say, well, hey, what's up, man? But can't be around you, man. I cannot spend my time around toxic people, or people who aren't wanting to make this world a better place, or at least laugh and enjoy themselves and make certain that everybody else in the room is enjoying themselves. And that's one thing I got to say that's very important. When I say I fight for my happiness, not just for myself. If I'm pretty much the guy, if I'm in a room and Brian, me and you are just, how we can laugh and shoot the breeze. But I see one of your buddies that you brought with you, man, he's over in the corner, kind of like checking his cell phone. I'll try to bring him into the fold, man. I want everybody to, enjoy life.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Now, when we say this, and help me, because you've been around some people, happiness and toxic people are not just based on social economics. I think people think that just because somebody doesn't have money or doesn't have access to resources, that somehow they're toxic. And then people somehow that are wealthy, that are doing real well, always got it together and can do stuff. Kind of just share with me a little bit about, can there be toxicness no matter what the socioeconomic level is?
Right. Well, as I pretty much described earlier, me, if I am a base or if I abound, um, I'm going to fight for my happiness. So I know I'm not the only one in the world that feels that way. And then there are just, some toxic people. And the way I feel about that, my pastor told it to me, and then I live by this also. And it's this, Brian. I can deal with, help, live with people with problems all day long. I just can't spend a minute with problem people. If
Whoa.
if you a problem person that you always looking to fight, you always have to be right, you always have a chip on your shoulder, man, I'll try to. We'll have the conversation will probably go like this. I'll say something that I think is good, and then they'll say something, back, and then I'll say, well, and I'll try one more time, and then no matter what they say, if I detect that, I go, I never thought about it like that. And then I'll nod my head a few more times, and then boop, I'm gone. If a person is closed off, I feel, in the Bible it says, do not cast your pearls amongst swine. And not that I'm calling people pigs or that I have pearls, but the thing is if you don't want what I have, it's cool. We don't have to exist. I'm so good with me not having to be around you and you not having to be around me, because I have so many rich relationships where I have like-minded people who love to see people flourish. I don't know why I'm thinking about this, but a good buddy of mine, Tony Faulkner, I'm a real estate broker. Kim and I are really doing great now. But a realtor friend of mine, he's a brother in Orange County. He just won Realtor of the Year. And when I hear his name announced, I jump out of my chair, beat him on the chest as he's walking up, and it scares the crap out of him. But it's like, man, I was so happy for this guy. And still to this day, all of the people still talk about how, man, Chip, I never saw such genuine happiness for somebody else. But that's how I am, man. I love to see people succeed.
Oh, absolutely. That is so cool. One of the things that, my pastor taught me at one point is hurting people hurt people. Whether, whatever the environment that they came from, the things that they do, and then they can become problem people, maybe not even knowing they are. What have you done or been around? Because like I'm the same way. I don't want to hang around problem people, but at the same time, I find people sometimes that if they're willing to try to pull themselves out of that, how do you help people, or how do you encourage people that they have this genuine, I want to do better? I'm not talking about that person who could care less. Like, I just want to be evil and mean to people. I'm talking about that guy who really wants to change. How do you help them grow and move out? Because I think that's a lot about what Journey to Freedom is about, is how do we help the people who want this to be able to achieve this happiness and things that we're talking about here?
Well, you hit a nail on the head right there, Brian, when you said they want to, that desire, that inclination. I can deal with that person. I love dealing with that person if they are at the bottom of their lives and they have screwed up so much. And even if they've cheated me and stolen from me, I'll even say that, but they want to better themselves, I'm the guy for the job. I'm the guy for the time to be given. I'm the guy to help. But if you got that person, yeah, man, you better your butt on out of my face. I can't deal with that. So it is that attitude of wanting to be better, man, because I was at a point where the only way I grew was by the relationships I had, the mentors, the people who brought me up, and people I listened to, the people I sat down and listened to the words that they said. And, I'm going to tell you something about a mentor too. No mentor knows exactly how to tell you how to get to where you want to get. No, you think no successful person, Elon Musk, Oprah Winfrey, nobody knew 2 years before they started on their journey to be gazillionaires. They didn't know they were going to be that. when Oprah was getting turned down for news anchor jobs and stuff like that. She didn't know that. But everybody has to take a step, man, and surround themselves with people who they want to be like. And man, I'm there for, and no matter where you are, I'm 66 years old. I've done a lot of stuff. I played Muhammad Ali in the greatest, and I travel with the Muhammad Ali, the greatest athlete of all times. I traveled with him for 3 months shooting the greatest. I've won the Amazing Race. I've had a CBS TV series. I've married the most beautiful woman in the world. But guess what? I'm 66 and the best is yet to come. I don't just believe it like, ooh, there's something to say. It's the truth. I'm looking so forward to life, baby. And it just gets better.
Oh, that is so cool. One of the things that I'd love to, this unpack for a little bit is we talk about our faith, and both of us talk about our pastors and the people we've been around. In those times where you've had some really good times and you've had some times that have been low times, how has faith and your journey in faith, helped you through these processes or helped you through these times? We're going to get to relationships, but I just want to kind of find out first, how has faith played its part in keeping you in this pursuit of happiness, or this happiness, place that you've been able to maintain for so many years?
Well, Brian, faith has not helped me. Faith is the only thing. It's not help. It is the thing. It's me seeing, not looking at this snapshot of the terrible way I am, me seeing through faith, me realizing my full potential, me seeing it when my wife and I are seriously eating top ramen when everybody else thinks we're doing great. And the other thing, man, is my wife. She's there with me through thick and thin, man. We do things together. She's not one of these who say, "Oh, well, why can't we do this?" We're there together, man. We encourage each other, and we laugh. We had so much fun tearing up some sardines and crackers, and during those rough times, man. We have fun. We laugh. We say, man, look at us. I didn't ever think we'd have to drink Kool-Aid again, but just so faith. So I want to reiterate.
Oh man,
faith,
I guess
faith did not help. Faith was the thing.
Yes. As you're going through, what are some things that I think for Black men, one of our biggest issues is just trusting ourselves and believing in ourselves, and before we can start believing in somebody else. But how do we begin to treat others in a way that can help us not only love ourselves and trust ourselves, but then have somebody who wants to be with us? Because I see so many Black men that have these relationships, and I think you talked about a little bit where you talk about maybe cheating or doing some of these other things. With Kim and with your relationship, what have you done to make sure that relationship just stays so pure, that stays whole? I mean, because we all have arguments, we all have fights, but you found a way of how to treat Kim and how Kim can treat you that has gone for 46 years. What are some of those things that you could tell other folks that would just be amazing?
Well, Brian, I'm glad you asked that question, because that is what I am concentrating on now. And when I say I mean Kim and I, because she's doing all the behind the scenes stuff. But she says, "Chip, forget you. You used to be an actor. You like to be on the camera. I don't like to be on the camera. So we used to do everything together, but now I'm doing it." But what I have now, and it's on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, and even a little bit on Twitter. It's called Chip's Tips. And it is mainly talking to women right now on how to have rich relationships with men. And I'm starting off, Brian, spoon feeding them ways that are attractive, that would make them attractive to men, And I'm slowly but surely letting them know what the situation is, because women nowadays don't fully realize the, let's call it the game of life, the game of romantic life, because men have been forced into being really caustic towards women now, where men are, especially with women talking about I'm a bad bi now, and I don't need them. So men are saying, oh, okay, that's the way you want to play it. So it is very, very hard and difficult for a woman who wants a relationship, who wants a good man, to even find one, because the good man, the man who would have been a quote unquote good man, has become so callous now because of the treatment that he's received from women out there. So I have so many great plans to speak with women and then men and then both. So it's going to come in kind of, I'm going to have series on each of those, but I am very passionate towards relationships, because Kim and me, the main thing that we've that has made us thrive is we learn, if you learn a few simple lessons, but the number one lesson is, what do you get from being right? Everybody always wants to argue until they're right. If Brian, if you and I argue right now, about that time when you introduced me to the internet, you'll say, Chip, I didn't introduce you to the internet. I introduced you to something else.
Well, yeah.
And then I'll go back. I said, and I know in my heart it was the internet. Even though I know, Brian, I would say it about 2 times. I say, it was the internet. Da, da, da. If you said, no, it was, I said, dang, man, it probably, what do I get from being right? And if you,
lonely.
Yeah, yeah, lonely. So that's one of the things. And the other thing is, Kim and I, we genuinely hate. Did you hear that? Hate. We hate to argue. We just don't even like it, man. And I think that's a key component. But what are you going to do if you get with a person who loves to argue? I guess I just didn't get one of those, and she didn't get one of those. So we cut it off quick. Ours might be loud and quick. Okay, I'm gonna just say one more thing, and then that's it. And that's it. So that's how our arguments mainly end. You just gonna hear my point, and I'm out. So don't spend time arguing. Don't dwell in the negative. Don't spend time concentrating on the bad things about me. I'm not going to spend time concentrating on the bad things about my woman. I'm going to tell my woman, baby, do you know when I'm going to come home and we're talking all day, and I'm at a seminar, and you've already asked me that, did I eat? And I told you no. It makes me feel so good when you have some dinner for me, baby. I feel like a king when you do that. That's a better way than saying what a brother feel like. Mother, you can't have no dinner ready for me. You knew I was hungry. There's 2 ways to talk to people.
Amen. 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 I hear you. So you're doing Chip's tips now, and you're talking to women. Does that now grow into talking to men as well? What is, because there's just such a gap. When I think about, I was telling you earlier that I went through this trust seminar, and I think one of the biggest gaps in our country is, with black men to ourselves, black men to our black women, black men to our jobs, to our society. There's this gap where trust isn't there. We have grown up learning how not to trust. And so how do we begin that trust process of where not only trusting ourselves, but then, like you said, the way that women talk to us, the way that sometimes we talk to them, or our belief system in how do we find somebody good? What are some of those tips that are going to transform this relationship thing? Because it's so vitally important for us to be able to grow and be successful.
Well, Brian, one of the videos that I just put out, it was how to make wait, what's the title? Is the queen? Well, anyway, it's how does a woman make herself her man's queen? And I let him know that Kim and I dated for 7 years.
I like that.
And we were married for about 3 or 4 years. And she was my wife. I loved her. I've never loved anybody like I loved Kim. But I know the day she became my queen. I know the day. And that was the day when I was an actor, as we've established, and I came home and from did another audition I didn't get, and I said, babe, I've been thinking, I think I'm gonna quit acting school for right now and put that on the back burner. And she looked at me and she said, oh, baby, that is so great. I've been praying for that for 2 years, and I'm so glad you made that decision. And I was blown. I said, what do you mean? What do you mean you've been praying for 2 years? Kim, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me? And she went, baby, I will never, ever take away your dream. That's a decision you have to make. Man.
Wow.
After that, dude, that's when, Brian, I went back. I got my bachelor's degree at 30 years old from, have you ever heard of this school, Brian, Azusa Pacific?
Hey, I know a couple of people have been there. Graduated from there, spent a little bit of time there.
So that's our alma mater. But I did that. But for my woman, we were doing so poorly that, she was not gnawing on me. She would not take my dream away when I wasn't probably putting food on the table. That's when you become a queen, is when you're there for your man. And at that time, so that's the day my wife became a queen.
Wow. That is so neat that you can hear that story, because how many times have you heard, or people that you've been around with, associated with, where it's always gnawing and chewing and stopping somebody from achieving that dream, but at the same time letting them grow to the point where they can see those things around. That is so special. Are there any other things, like what would you say to some of the men about the way that they treat their wives, and the way how can they bring them into into their dreams, into what the things that they want to do, the things that they want to achieve, if they're afraid that their spouse or their partner is like, oh no, we're not going to go there. They're just going to shrink it down to this little, so they don't even bring it up. How can we start establishing that?
Brian, I firmly feel that it's on the man to set that thermometer, set the temperature in his house to agreement. You have to, even in anything you do, if you're going to a movie, if you're going to the gas station, you have to plan. It may not be this big elaborate plan, but you have to say, okay, wouldn't it be stupid, Brian, if you went to the gas station to get gas and then, oh man, we needed some bread for the hamburger. So then you come home, then you go to the store to get and then you say, oh, cheese, man, I don't like hamburgers without cheese. Then you go get the cheese. Then that's how people run their lives, man. They don't plan. So what Kim and I do is we just say, we first, since our priority in life is God first, each other second, the kids third, our friends and family fourth, then it gets all muddy. And maybe that's why I haven't kept money. I've had that up and down, because you see how still to this day, I'm not prioritizing my business and everything. God's going to take care of that. I've delegated that to him, and I'm doing great by doing that now. Had to go through a lot, but you see, with that priority, God first, with Kim second, while we were raising our kids, they never pitted one of us against each other, because they knew, hey man, I don't only love your mother differently than I love you. I love her more than I love you. And I don't see a lot of marriages like that, Brian. I see all of these marriages where, especially the women, they love their kids more than they love their husband, and the husband can feel that.
Of course.
I don't think, and here's the thing. The women who I really have compassion and empathy and love and a sorrowful feeling for are women who are older, who never got married, or divorced women. Because here's the thing. When you do get married to that man, even though you've had that 15, 16, 18, 20-year relationship with your kids, if your marriage is going to work, your husband has to be above the kids at all times. Husband, or don't get married. Mm-hmm. So, that's just some tough stuff that I'm going to be relaying to people, man. And the men, yeah, man, I just got to say, I get a lot of pushback from this one, Brian. But I feel, listen to this. If you're dating, not going out as friends, if you're dating a woman, you pay for at least the first meal, man. How the heck you gonna be going Dutch or what's that called, Dutch, or splitting the bill, man? So now, if you're friends, I can see that. I'm the kind of person, I say, Lord, please bless me with enough finances. When I'm rolling, when my money's right, my boy Brian couldn't pay. I pay. It's an honor to pay. But these, I'm not gonna call people names, but I sure feel like saying what they are. These who, well, we're gonna go Dutch on the first date. Come on, man.
Yeah, and there's something about, Chip, and I love that you brought that up, because I think what some women don't realize in this is, by not allowing me to pay, you're taking something away from me as a man, right? You're not allowing me to be the man that I need to become, that the person who could protect you and take care of you. And that shows you from the beginning. And if I'm that man who's saying, no, I want you to pay half, because I don't want, then now you've already shrunk yourself into this little hole where that's been taken away from you.
Yeah, that's so true.
That thing that God has given us that says, this is who you are as a man, that I want you to be a godly man who can get stuff done. That comes with paying for a meal. That comes in. And if you're not allowed to do that, you're not allowed to walk around and open that car door. You're not allowed to, to have those conversations where, hey, let me be a man, then you're just, I guess, emasculated. I don't know what the word is that is used, but you're taking that away from me to be able to do that. So if that means, if all I can afford is Kentucky Fried Chicken or Burger King, then let's go to Burger King, Kentucky Fried Chicken. I'm not going to try to take you to the nicest restaurant, but at least I get to pay. At least I get to be a man. At least I get to grow, right? I mean, am I wrong in thinking that and saying that?
No, you're right. But I'm going to put a but on that. I have seen, because I know some men are out here, if they're looking at it, they say, well, Chip and Brian, you don't understand. You're not out here with these women nowadays, because I have seen these videos where a guy, was taking a woman to not even Burger King or Kentucky Fried Chicken that you're talking about, took her to Red Lobster, and she wouldn't get out the car. Have you seen that, Brian?
I have. Next.
Yeah. So that woman, as a matter of fact, no, I don't even want to say, but if I was out there and I got wind of something like that, I think, no, if I was a secret millionaire or a multimillionaire, I think I would take a woman to, something like Claim Jumper or Red Lobster at first, to see if she would act a fool like that, because I don't want anything like that in my life.
No, next. Absolutely. Chip, one of the things I would love we talked a lot about associations and finding good associations and that circle of friends that matters. Maybe you can give us an example, and it's for different things, right? I have a mentor that I look up to that is for relationships. I have a mentor that I look up that's for business. I have, a mentor that I look up that can help me with trust. So they're different people. but maybe give us some examples of 2 or 3 people in your life that have been that mentor that you could look up to, that have given you some of that guidance, and then why it was that you were able to latch on to those people and learn from them and humble yourself, right? Because as Black men, sometimes we show up as if we have to know everything, and that we have to be able to achieve everything, and we can't look weak in any way. What are some of those things, or some of those people in your life, and what did they do to help you move forward?
Well, fortunately, when I was very young, as I said earlier, I played the young Muhammad Ali in the movie The Greatest. So my first mentor was who I called him my mentor. He called me his protege, was Muhammad Ali. That was, I could call him and get a lot of information from him. My second mentor was the late, great, last year, Jim Brown, the great All-American football player. And Kim and I had our wedding reception at his house, and the book that he wrote about his life is dedicated to the Wallace family, and that's Kim's family. That's her maiden name. So I had those two as my first mentors, and that was amazing. And I used to go up to Jim's house and just listen to him till 2, 3 in the morning, and it was amazing. But nowadays, I have Derry Stone is my mentor now, and he has been since the year 1999. And he is Tom Hicks, who owns the Houston Astros and so many other sports teams. He is Tom Hicks's right-hand man in Texas. I'm always able to call him about anything business related. And the knowledge that he espouses to me is just crazy. And the thing that I love about him is he's just such a tremendous giver. Like for instance, he is such a mentor and he's like one of the top ranking decision makers at Baylor University. And he takes all of the ex-Baylor the Baylor athletes who have made it to the pros, or even all of the Baylor people who are there, and they play basketball over his house, and there are about 20 or 30 guys over there, and he takes them all out to lunch afterwards and pays. And and some of the people, they can bring their friends and everything. And this is an expensive restaurant he goes to. And just from me seeing how somebody just wants to give back, it just means so much. And that's all of my mentors have to have, that ultimately the reason they're doing what they do is not to make themselves bigger and not to see how much they can get, but to see how much they can give. And right now, one of my richest relationships, Brian, and you probably appreciate this, is with my little brother Corey Neubauer. And it is where I'm his mentor, I'm his protege. He's my mentor. He's my protege. And we help each other. And we meet every first Thursday of every month. And it is powerful, man. Where we come, we talk about relationships. We talk about business. And this is one of the richest ones I've had, because we've grown so much because we throw ideas at each other at such a rapid pace.
Oh, that is so helpful in growing. And so if I'm watching this video and I'm saying, hey, I want to have some of these relationships. How do I seek those out? How do I find people that I can have these relationships with that are better than the ones that I have? Because the ones that I have aren't serving me. They're not growing. I feel like I'm stuck, as a Black man trying to figure out, how do I make it in this world? How do I seek out those relationships? What do I do?
That the very simple answer to that, and it's going to be so simple, you're not going to believe it. You just see somebody you wish your life would be like. Now, you don't ever want to be somebody, it's not about that. But if you saw yourself living this life, you'd be happy. And ask them, say, man, could we talk? I could put it like this. If we could develop a mentor protege relationship, I'd love it. But can we at least talk? Something like that. And guess what? I've been turned down before. I was just talking with Kim, and somebody I got turned down by, and it's the funniest turn down ever, was shortly after I did the greatest, playing Muhammad Ali. I'm at the Playboy Club and a whole bunch of celebrities are there, and I meet one of my comedic idols. I meet Richard Pryor, and I'm talking and we're hitting it off, and this show. I say, "Hey, Rich," I say, "Hey, man, let me get your number, man." So he said, he went, "Why you want my number? I ain't no bitch."
Oh my gosh.
and I laughed and everything. And he laughed. He didn't give me his number. So I'm just
No.
saying, everybody you ask, is not going to say yes. But no, and I'm not. I hold no grudges against Richard. Maybe he wasn't in a position to be a mentor, or maybe he didn't even know I wanted him to be my mentor.
Yeah, no, I was just saying. So some people, God doesn't want you to have them as mentors either.
Well, yeah, I think that was a wise choice.
Yeah, I mean the path and the road that you may have gone down, and not saying, maybe if you wanted to learn to be a great comedian and have great timing and all that kind of stuff, but some of the lifestyle things choices that we know Richard Pryor made through his life may not have been the greatest to be your mentor. But then you start thinking about, I mean, I love what you said, because you said ask, right? Find somebody, but you also want to find somebody who's kind of close to where you're at too, possibly, because if you go, okay, I want to be like Tyler Perry, right? The chances of you being mentored by Tyler Perry right away are probably slim and none, right? Because there is such a gap, a huge gap that, between what's Tyler Perry really going to be able to help you do as far as a mentor relationship, on a daily basis. I mean, he could tell you some things, but probably most of the things he could tell you would be so mind blowing that you couldn't even fathom, because he's so far removed. I'm not, Tyler Perry was exactly where we are, probably worse off than we've ever been, through his life, but he's not there now. Right. And so if I show up in that spot right now, it might not be the good place. But if there's somebody who is that professor, or somebody who is that, person that you that you've seen that's done really well in business, that maybe doesn't make $1 billion, but makes $1 million, or, or $5 million, depending on where you're at. If you're making $25,000 a year, you don't need to talk to the guy who's making $1 billion. You need to talk to the guy who's making 250 or 500 to kind of get you in that mindset to be able to do that. Are there people that you can see throughout your life that kind of did that for you? Maybe, anybody that you can think that was kind of close enough to you that you were able to ask, and maybe you can even share one of the gems or something that they told you that changed everything in your perspective.
Yeah, it's happened so many times, and sometimes when it doesn't even have to be a mentor, it just happens when God sends people to give you the same information over and over again. It's God. Because and one example of that is when Kim and I were just minding our own business, but we had a business partner who had cheated us out of everything, and we were in bankruptcy and foreclosure. People would come up and say, "Chip, Kim, you know what? You guys should try out for The Amazing Race." And we're like, "Oh, we like that show." The first time somebody said it. Brian, if you really think about it, The Amazing Race, like a prototypical basketball player is tall and thin, prototypical. A prototypical, bodybuilder is muscular. What the heck is a prototypical The Amazing Racer? There is none. But that person said it. Then about a few days later, another whole different unrelated person said it. Then a couple said it. And when the fifth person within 2 weeks said it, we went, "Oh my God." We tried out for it. And I knew it was God. I knew it was God. So when things keep on hitting you that seem far-fetched, listen to it. And all while we were on that show, we're still the oldest team to ever win that show, even to this day. We're still the oldest. Halfway through the race, the producers would come and say, Bertram Van Munster, he has a funny accent. He went, "Chip, Kim, you could win this thing." And we would go, "Oh, thank you, Bertram. That's so cool." And then when he would turn his back, we say, he's so full of, I mean, why would he tell us that? That fool,
I love it.
that fool just trying to get us to what I ain't gonna, I'm saying he's pissing me off, Kim. Good. God showed me we were going to get on the Amazing Race, and God showed me we were going to get tremendous favor, but he never showed me we were going to win. Not even once until the last day. We didn't even think we had a chance till the last day. So,
wow. How long was that show? Then how long were you gone out of circulation to be able to all the filming and going? I mean, I've watched the show a few times.
Yes, it was 6 weeks. We were gone, and we went to all the continents, 12 different countries, 72,000 miles in 6 weeks.
So seeing all that culture and then coming back to America and living back in America, what are some takeaways that you see that we could do better in our society, or that we should take some lessons from some of the other cultures that you saw?
Well, Brian, seriously, I'd be trying to wax poetic if I tried to say something about that. But all I will say, man, is no matter what country you're from, I really would like for you to look at the scoreboard of your life at the end when you finally do pass on. And I want you to look at it as I had a good day, I had a great day, or I had a terrible or miserable day. And I would say that if you have a life that is filled with great days, it's better than having a life filled with bad days. And the weird thing about that is you can determine probably 99% of those times, you can determine what kind of day you're going to have, because you have no control over that which happens to you, but you have 100% control over your attitude towards that. So like I told you, I fight for my happiness. I fight for the happiness of others, no matter what's going on. I make a concerted effort to put myself in situations that are conducive to that. And if you, no matter where you live and what country you live in, man, just fight for happiness for yourself. Fight for wins for yourself. Fight for more money for yourself, as long as you're not hurting anybody else. You want to make certain that because I couldn't be happy if I'm making money, but I'm doing like this to Brian and I'm screwing. I want to sleep at night, and I want to sleep well. And I want Brian, I want everybody around me to make money. So that's
absolutely. Yeah, I got another question, one last question for you as we start to wind down, and it's about the formula. And one of the things you just said is so important is we have to go through life believing there's enough resources, right? That God has given this planet with an abundance of resources that we can figure out. And so you don't have to take somebody else out in order for you to gain. And I think that's kind of the mentality of a lot of us. In order for you to win, I have to lose. I think that's why you're excited when somebody wins, because I can win too. This guy, I can celebrate his life, celebrate everything he's done, celebrate his accomplishments, because I know that it's not taking since he won, I can't win anymore. And if we can get out of that mentality that there's this abundance of resources that are there, what I would love for you to share with us is your formula for happiness. Like, what is the day in the life of Chip McAllister look like? From the time you get up to the time you go to bed, you're happy, you're excited, you want life to happen. How can I take that as, because I get up, I'm the guy who gets up and I'm just, woe is me. This day's going to suck just like yesterday sucked, and tomorrow's going to suck just as bad. How do I change that? What does Chip do every day that just keeps him excited?
Well, first off, we all know what an introvert is and an extrovert, but my definition of it is an introvert gains regeneration, vigor, energy from being by themselves. That's an introvert. They can recharge. I am an extrovert, man. So when I'm by myself, it's like either I love it being by myself when I'm tired and I need to sleep. But when I get up in the energy, man, Kim's gone, CJ's gone, nobody's around. I'm like, what the heck? And I'm like, Even when I'm about to go somewhere, I'm about to go, oh, man, I wish I could have stayed home. But Brian, for me, as soon as I see people, oh my God, I get so much energy from people, man. And I used to be ashamed or scared to say this statement, and I'm going to say it boldly now. I am a likable / lovable guy. People like and love me. And I used to be ashamed of saying that, man, because how could somebody be so brash to say that? But the reason I can say it is because people can genuinely see that I love them, because I love people. I mean, especially when I first meet you, your slate is clean, man. You are so lovable. It's only up to you to be that. Remember, we talked about that problem person. And then when you're that problem person, you don't mess up my parade. It's just that, we don't have to breathe the same air.
Wow, that is so cool. So cool. I'm so glad that that we were able to talk today. If there's one thing or a few things of just departing messages, things that you would want to feed into somebody, things that you would want to just, departing message that says you can do this. One of the things that I say at the end of all my shows, whichever they are, whatever podcast I'm doing, is one that you can do this. You can achieve a different life than you already have if you choose to. The next thing is you deserve it. God put you on this planet. You are his greatest gift. He loves you. He wants you to succeed. He wants you to do well. You deserve this because God wants you to deserve it. And the last thing is, how do I find others in those circles? You have to seek them out of people that can help bring you up, not take you down. And you have to spend that time. So in that light, what are some things or the departing thoughts that you would love to share with folks that are listening to this today that could help them start that road to greatness?
Thank you, Brian. Well, first off, I'll say, as we established, I'm just started January 1st and have a lot of great short videos there. To this point, they're only 1 minute. They're reels, and you can find them on either Chip McAllister on Facebook or Amazing Race Chip on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and YouTube, Chip's Tips. But go out and find those. So that would just be amazing. But what I would say to whoever's listening, man, what Brian said means a lot. You were not put on this earth as a mistake. Whoever is listening right now, you have a rich, tremendous destiny that you have yet to attain. But, and this but is so big, you don't necessarily have to attain it. You could actually not attain your destiny. And the only way for you to attain it is to want it and to take steps. Just take a baby steps towards your destiny. Don't sit around and let life pass you by. Don't do it. Take a chance. And like I said, when those 5 people came up to me, on the, for the Amazing Race, and when those people saw an advertisement for they were looking for a young man to play Muhammad Ali in his life story on the news, and my mother told me about it. You have to listen to people and take steps, even though you're totally unequipped. You're totally unqualified. It's totally something that's too big for you. Remember, ain't nothing too big for God, and the God in you can attain it. So never put limits on yourself and take steps. And the last thing I'm going to leave you with, the last thing I'll leave you with is this, is I spent my whole life from the age of probably mid-30s to late 50s, 60 pounds overweight. And I want to tell you right now, I'm living my best life right now. I'm feeling good. You have to get your body in shape. If you're sitting around there, that's the one thing you can take care of. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. Don't be fat and out of shape, because my life is so much better, so much more energy, no knee pain, playing pickleball every day, feel better than I felt in like years. And I'm not just saying this. I don't feel 66. Get yourself in shape. And the way to do that, don't go looking on diets. Don't look at Atkins, don't look at Fatkins, and don't look at Natkins. All you need to do is don't eat what you know you shouldn't eat. A 7-year-old kid knows if he has a choice between a Snickers bar and broccoli, what he should be eating. So you owe it to yourself. I'm off my soapbox. Back to you, Brian.
Oh man, thank you, and thank you for adding that health piece in there. That is so important, and to be able to go down this journey, health is the number one thing to be able to do. Not only physical health, but mental health, and we can work on those things together. And so, thank you for being on the show today. Thank you for taking your time to give us the knowledge that you've given us. And I know it's important. I know somebody's going to be uplifted by it. I know that as a group, as a team of people, as a group of people who are trying to move forward, we can do this. We can make it happen. We can make, we can make our life so much better. Instead of waiting for life to happen to us, we get to go make life happen. And Chip, I just appreciate you. I appreciate all the things that you've done in my life over my time, and the wisdom that you've I guess given to me, I guess is the word that I'm trying to look for, that you've given to me over the years, and making it such a wonderful place. And the joy that you exude, that's the joy that people need to have, because happiness on a daily basis means a happy life. And so whatever we can do on a daily basis to do that, we can tell that you do that. So we'll have you back on at some point. We're going to be doing, not only are we going to do this show, we're going to get 100 episodes in 2024. Then we're going to start working on the relationships. And then we're going to get some spouses in here. And so you guys are going to come back as a team, as a group. And so, again, just appreciate you being on the show, and look forward to talking to you the next time.
All right, thank you so much.